It took me 6 years to make this video. 6 years to understand fighting. I've been doing boxing for 4 years, and I've been doing MMA for a couple of years, inconsistently. And see, that's the problem. The problem is with inconsistency. I used to think fighting was about skill or progress, or no, it is about progress. I used to think fighting was about skill, toughness, or proving something to yourself, or proving something to others. But the longer I stayed around it, the more I realized that most people don't fail in fighting because they can't fight. They fail because they never really understand what they're getting into. And here's what I'm talking about. From the outside, fighting is like knockout reels, highlights, confidence, control. But the reality is it's exhaustion before even starting. It's feeling tired before you get hurt. What the hell's wrong with my... It feels like I have a speech impediment. Jesus fucking Christ. It's getting hit while you're tired. It's learning that technique isn't always effective when your body is breaking down. There is no moment where it feels like a movie. It's repetitive and it's mentally draining. And back to where I was going with inconsistency, it being the biggest problem. The reason why is because when you pause progress, you don't just stop training. You lose the skill set that you've gained from that training. You lose the physical attributes that you've gained, the physical attributes that you've improved on yourself, which is cardio, timing, reflexes. You lose all of that when you stop for like even a week or fucking like a month. Yeah, that is the worst part, and it's coming back and realizing that. And then you don't come back feeling sharper. You come back feeling like you're starting from zero, like you're starting from scratch. Not literally, but like it feels like you're trying to catch up to yourself from the amount of times that you haven't been training. And people think that fighting is physical first. It's not. It literally isn't. The real damage starts in your head. Um, it can be before the first fight or especially during the first fight. The real damage starts when you doubt your progress. It starts when you compare yourself to others. It starts when you question if you're even improving. And that creates a cycle of you training less because you feel behind, or when you don't get satisfied after your first fight and then you stop training. I don't know if this is like relatable to people. Like not getting satisfied after a fight that you lost, and inevitably you will lose if you're gonna start training for amateur fights, especially amateur fights. You're still starting out, and you're definitely not gonna... I'm not saying definitely, but like inevitably you will have moments where you're not where you have a lot of room to improve, and you criticize yourself too much for it. You dwell on it, and that makes you feel like, oh, this shit's, man, I fucking suck. Why am I fighting? All right, you know what, man? Fuck this. We ball. No, you can't quit from... You just can't quit if you really want to do this, you know? And I think that's for everything. Like, you're starting something, and you're gonna stop fighting because you didn't get satisfied beating someone up or getting your ass beat. that that just doesn't make any sense, because that's not what fighting is about. Fighting is about discipline. It's about discipline. It's about courage. It's not about courage. It's mostly about discipline. And they quit from mental friction, and from mental friction they can't even explain. Me personally, after my boxing fight, and okay, all right, let's not talk about my boxing fight, my MMA fight then. In my first MMA fight, I got absolutely humiliated. I got ragdolled. This feels really embarrassing to say out loud, but I got absolutely fucked. I got my ass beat. It was like a scene from The Boys where fucking Homelander is beating no, not The Boys. You know what? You got Invincible. You got Omni-Man beating up his son. It feels like that. I think that's a little too far, but you know, it's like, it's humiliating. That's what I'm trying to say. When that happened, I broke my hand. I broke my hand literally trying to punch him, but I ended up punching him with my wrist. And I continued fighting with a broken hand. My cardio I gassed out really fast, and I just couldn't continue fighting at the last round. And so I kept watching that video. I was not satisfied. I fucking hated every part of it. And I just stopped for a long time, especially because of my injury. And it wasn't the result that I expected, you know. It kind of like made me feel really shocked. And that's the part where most people struggle with. If you're losing your first or early fights, people, they just stop because they broke, I don't know, a part of their bodies. Apparently a lot of people struggle with this. Like, it's actually insane. And they stop because of it. Most people stop because of it. And your first fight or your first loss, it can either build you or break you. Me, it kind of broke me, and then I got back to it for a little bit, but I got really inconsistent. I didn't really feel my spirit coming back after that fight. But I'm trying my best now to, you know, like, be more consistent and do what I can to train even when not feeling like it. So you end up training under pressure, and pressure just feels harder. It just makes everything harder. Another mistake is, this is just my opinion. I don't know if like this is really a bad thing for other people, but in my opinion, I don't think trying to become your idol is gonna make you improve. You know, I don't think that, well, it can for a little bit, but mentally, like in the long term, it's not really gonna benefit you in the long term. Because what you don't see about these fighters like Ilya Taporia, like Sean O'Malley, Merab, Conor McGregor, what you don't see about them is their years of structure, their years of coaching, repetition. These are the kind of things that you don't see when they're not like recording, you know? So the point is, you try to copy the outcome without living the process. And that's a mistake a lot of people do. And when your version doesn't look the same as these fighters, you feel like you're doing something wrong, and you're comparing completely different timelines. Another mistake, and this is the mistake that made me end up losing my first fight, is fighting on short notice. That, please don't fucking do that. It's I don't care. I don't care how long you've been. Okay, well, yeah, how long you've been training definitely does factor your chances of winning. But don't fight because you really like have this adrenaline rush. You have this adrenaline rush and you feel like you can fuck shit up. No, don't do that. That is just your ego talking and it's gonna end up fucking you up. And then you're gonna feel like shit about it. Train. It's okay. Like it could take a month. It could take two. It could take a year. Listen, you can't like you're gonna feel like shit if you lose your if you lose your first fight. Like trust me, it's not a good feeling. Like you're gonna get depressed. You're gonna fucking you're gonna stop training. I mean, like it's inevitable if you lose your first fight. Like not a lot of people survive that, and continue. They survive, but they don't continue, and that's the point of it. Like you gotta try your best to perform at your absolute best in your first fight. So the biggest problem isn't any one thing, it's expectation. Progress, you can't expect progress to feel linear. You can't expect motivation to stay high. You can't expect training to be fun. It isn't fun. Fighting doesn't work like that. It's slow, repetitive, and a lot of the time it is mentally draining. It feels like nothing is happening, and you just, until much later when you realize it was happening the whole time. The point is, the brutal reality of fighting isn't the physical side. It's mostly what's inside here. And you gotta really train. You gotta train your mind before anything else. You have to you have to come with a mindset that benefits you in the long term if you're gonna start fighting. So yeah, that's my advice for people who are starting out. Anyway, hope you guys found something valuable in this video. Yeah, see you soon.